snap the plug off, and the threads are stuck in the head, and it's still sitting in my driveway like that. Forget it, I'll look later. Let the comb go. What? 5-speed 4x4. Yeah, mine's only a two-wheel drive. Like a long travel, little gal in the front, in the back, supercharged, first generation TRD supercharger on a 3.4, but it's an auto. But I have a 5-speed range option. It's like 90. So the thing is, it gets so much. Yeah, well, it's fun trying to figure all that out.
Awaited video. Josh, the unicorn, the legend, and the four-wheel drive.
How's it going? So yeah, this is my motorhome. It's been a long project, fun but stressful, cost money, all that stuff. But it's totally worth it. I did it for the kids. You know, I just wanted to make a motorhome that could go anywhere, camp anywhere, and not get stuck. Everybody said, "Oh yeah, you're not gonna go off-roading in the thing," and I'm like, "No, I don't want to off-road in it, but I'm gonna off-road in it without actually off-roading, just cruising, not getting stuck." That was the whole point. And these things come basically lowered, so I wanted to build something I could work on underneath, slide under there, get to everything, and not get stuck. Camp where no RV has camped before. So that's basically why I did it. But it's a lot of fun. So I don't know if you want to go just do like a...
Yeah, let's do a quick walk around here so I can kind of point some key points out here.
Yeah. So I don't know where you're at right now, but front end, it's an 85 4Runner axle. Basically stock-ish. It's got 488 gears in the front. It's got like heavy-duty springs. They're actually heavy-duty for a 4Runner, so they're kind of light for this weight of this vehicle. But I added airbags and Fox shocks to kind of make up for that, so I can adjust it. A lot of people were kind of against, online anyways, when I mentioned putting airbags in the front, but these are airlift bags with a rubber bump stop built in, so they can be run basically flat. So if you air them down, it's like they're not there, basically. But if you need them, they're there, and they're great for leveling. I can actually level myself out on a really angled, terrain when I'm camping, because you're camping in the middle of nowhere. Finding a flat spot is next to impossible. So you just throw some air in the bags, and you can get it mostly level, depending on how bad it is, but helps out a lot. But they're all individually controlled, so you can do,
You got toggle switch rooms, right?
Well, I have them, but they're not hooked up yet. I have onboard air, but it's kind of manual right now. So you can see by the back tire, the little nipples that are sticking out.
Yeah.
That's for the rear. And then the front is just hanging in the dash kind of temporarily. I haven't got to that point yet. But eventually it's going to have gauges. I got double needle gauges, so there'll be 2 gauges with 4 needles in each bag with separate toggles. I put an ARB compressor under the hood, a 3-gallon tank under the coach. And then, so it's got crossover steering. It's got, beefed up brakes for the 4-wheel drive. It's got stainless steel brake lines. As you can see, I haven't got the paint or anything. That's pretty much all original, except the fenders. I switched to a 4-wheel drive fender. And then the tires look big, but they're really not. They're only 30-inch. So the 488s with a 30-inch keeps a low gear set up with a 5-speed. I'm able to pull a small trailer with 4 bikes on it fairly easy. A lot of people are telling me, "Oh, you can't do that with 22 RE. It's not possible." Well, with the low enough gears, it's very possible. You just can't be in a hurry. But and I caught some heck for the locks on these things. They were already on the rear end when I got it. They're aftermarket. They're known to break, but I'm not rock crawling. They're not banging off rocks and stuff. So I might eventually switch them to the original Asian one or whatever. But I'm good with that.
Oh, looks like you did a custom rack up there too.
Yeah,
A lot better than the factory ones.
well, the factory one's actually the tent. Yeah, that's all it really is. It's not really a rack.
Oh, okay.
It's a tent for the
I was wondering that. I've seen the cables going
Yeah,
through it. Okay.
it's original idea behind it was to fix my sagging roof. So it basically pulls up on the roof. The downside though is I had to put holes with bolts through the roof. They have to be sealed. You got to check them probably every year or re-caulk them or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was either a full gut and another year or two of rebuilding everything, or figure out a way to pull the sag up. Because it was so bad, it was puddling like 2 inches of water and then coming like this. So
that's not a factory bumper.
no, basically from the shackle of the frame where the leaf spring is back is all rebuilt. It's 3/16 square tubing. It's got a hitch. It's got beefed up everything. I added floor supports. I did it all on the vehicle. I just like supported the back of the camper with jack stands and 2x4s and stuff. So when I cut the frame off, it wouldn't drop at all. And then I made the frame mostly together, welded where I needed to weld before I put it in, so I couldn't get to it. You know, because once it's up in there, you can't weld the top. So I had to kind of like put it together on the ground and then kind of slide it up in there, which was a total pain, but it worked out good. I made a copy of the bumper. It's the same size tubing as the original, but the bumper is actually sitting on like a piece of angle iron right here. It stops right here, you can see it.
Okay, yeah.
So all I gotta do is cut a couple of tack welds here and there, and this tube will come right off.
Nice.
If I ever get, hit it or get rear end or it's bent, it could easily be replaced, but the main frame part stays. And then the hitch is sitting on that like 1/4 inch angle iron that comes across.
Oh, that's cool.
And eventually I'm gonna add another hitch here and here for options. I can make a little generator one or whatever.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
And then
make it modular. You can detach and attach different.
Yeah, and then also I'm gonna pick up some high lifts so I can hook, and I'm gonna design it to hook in there with a pin, and then you can stabilize it with high lifts.
Oh, nice.
Or because the thing I've noticed about it is when I'm camping, I always seem to be kind of rear low, and the bags can only do so much. They're sitting at 50 pounds usually, just driving down the road. I can go to 100, but it really won't lift it much. So it'd be nice to have those high lifts back here. I could use it to level it and kind of lift it and stabilize it all at the same time. And if I ever got stuck, it would work to get me unstuck. And then no trailer this trip, just brought bicycles. But I got a buddy of mine that was sponsored by Fox, so I got all these Fox stickers. But it's got Fox shocks, 2.0s all around. They're 10-inch travel. The rear end is actually a T100, and a lot of people that know about rear ends. I want to take a look. It is not a full floater. It is a semi-float, and that's one thing that I was concerned about going with this rear end, because it's basically the same type of rear end that the 5-lug came that nobody really likes and they break. But this version is just a much beefier version, bigger bearings, bigger brakes. It's got an 8.4 differential over the 8-inch smaller one. So it uses a third member from Tacoma, not 4Runner, Tacoma, Tundra, Sequoia, and T100. They all use the same diff. So I searched long and hard trying to find the lowest gears I could find. I didn't want to spend the money on getting the differential built and $1,200, $1,500 to get each one built. So I got a hold of a 488, the 8-inch in the front. I popped that in. This one is actually a 490, which I know it's slightly different, but it's such a small difference it makes no difference in the dirt. But this 490 came from a T100, and a lot of people tell me Toyota didn't make a 490. Well, they're wrong. They made a 470 and a 490, and only came in the 1993 to 1994 T100 V6 4-wheel drive automatic. It had to have all those, and you can have a 470 and a 490. And I know they both exist because this is a 490, and my personal driver is a T100, and it has the 470. So, but I popped them in, so they're factory Toyota. So I don't got to worry about it, being set up wrong or whatever. It's been working great so far. But the next thing I want to do is there's actually a company that makes a full floater conversion for this. It switches it to disc brakes. It uses the disc brakes off of a straight axle like that and the hubs. It puts it back here. So it basically gives you double bearings, and they make a custom bracket to mount it, and they give you a custom made drive shaft, or not drive shaft, inner axle, and you can actually even run the locks if you want for flat towing. basically about a 1 foot lift. So 12 inches it came out to. I didn't really want to lift it that much. That's just kind of where it ended up. And the rear end was dropped so far, and these 21 footers have a 2-piece drive shaft, so there's a center carrier bearing in the middle. Well, if I would have left it all original, my drive shaft's going to go like this, and then it's going to drop down to the lip. So I cut out the center carrier bearing, and I made a whole new mount, much lower, so the drive shaft's in a nice line. And then I ended up using partial Tacoma drive shaft, which is a double card-in drive shaft. It has like a double U-joint, and it helps with the angle of everything. And this setup, you have the differential actually pointing straight at the transmission, so the drive line's a nice one line straight shot. And I had to lower the bearing so much to kind of make up for that. So I mean, you can get a shot of it if you want, but it works pretty well.
Let's do that. Get a shot down here and see that.
And the front half is still Toyota, you know, Sunrader, but let me pull this out of the way. Get in there a little better. And I just made it myself in my garage, balanced it and everything.
That's pretty cool.
People tell me,
Quite the fabricator.
yeah, people tell me, how'd you get it done? Well, it's just metal. So. And I'm sure it's not exactly balanced, but it doesn't vibrate, it doesn't move, it doesn't do anything. So, but
Let's check out the inside. I like your new flooring.
oh yeah, right on.
It's,
Yeah, so the interior is basically original other than the flooring. It was in pretty good shape when I got it. The cushions were clean, not torn. The issue with it though is the roof was sagged out, and the floor is kind of sagged out, so I'm kind of fighting those. When I pulled the roof back up with the roof rack, it kind of separated on some of the cabinets, so there's some little bit of issues there. Lost my cover the other day. I put all LED though. But
I get the same thing.
yeah. So diamond plate flooring, I had it laying around and made it work. Kind of mess in here because of the kids. But you can see that this is the roof rack. I actually screwed up. I should have put the bolts the other way. I'll probably switch them around, but they're actually pulling back up, which is causing this gap. So these things are all falling apart. I'm kicking ideas of tearing all this out and rebuilding it, but I'm having too much fun actually using it, camping. So I'm just trying to, you know, make things work for now. But on a daily, I bust handles, you know, so we've got bungee cords going everywhere. But it's the rear dinette. You can see the cushions aren't bad. Table's kind of falling apart. Carpet's coming down. Put a new vent, you know, just small things.
Still in great shape.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, is what it is. I got rid of the giant stove. I went with the two burner. And then it's still open right now on the bottom. It kind of works as my trash can, but eventually I'm gonna get some more aluminum, close it up, and put a little baby microwave right here.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Little like 700 watt. And I picked up a little inverter. I haven't installed it yet. It's in one of the cabinets, but it's a.
They're all a work in progress, aren't they?
Yeah, AC works and everything, but it's still. I mean, the roof is still kind of sagging a little because the rack stops here. And you can see it kind of angles down. So I was thinking about building another rack on this part that kind of pulls up on this. But like I said, I just hate putting holes in the roof. But I mean, I hate hitting my head just as much as I hate, you know. So
I was in a shorty and I took out the air conditioner.
Yeah, I mean, I hit my head on it often. But I clear over here. I'm not very tall, but you know, but it works. And being 4-wheel drive and twisting it all around, I mean, screws are popping out constantly. So my next plan, at least with the interior, eventually I'll full gut it, but I'm kind of thinking about replacing all the cabinets with aluminum, make diamond plate doors to kind of match the floor.
Awesome.
And then do flat aluminum in the back, probably paint it.
It wouldn't be any heavier than these either.
It'll be a lot lighter, getting rid of all this particle board. These doors are basically like made out of cardboard and crap. You can see them, it's actually cardboard inside, so they don't weigh anything, but the cabinets themselves are particle board with this cover on it. So, I mean, it all adds up, all that stuff, you know, and it's eventually all going to fall apart on me off-roading.
It's weird sitting up this high inside one. Like, I'm like used to looking more towards the ground.
You really got to be careful, especially if you had a drink or two coming in and out. A lot of times what I do is I just throw my spare tire down and I step on that first and then makes it another step. Eventually I'll make some kind of other step, but
I didn't realize they had a built-in step to get up from the bunk. That's cool.
Yeah. I actually had to lift this too, like this first step.
Yeah.
Underneath it is a second piece of plywood because that aluminum lip on the door almost killed me like 10 times. It hooks your foot.
Yeah, I noticed that on a few of them. I almost fell coming out of one of those.
So I added a 3/4 plywood under that piece, so
That's
it
cool.
brought it a little more equal.
That's a great idea.
And then that piece of diamond plate is just laying there. It can be taken out, just peeled up to dust off and whatever. And this part is just screwed in that way and screwed in the front, but the rest is just sitting. It's completely just laying. And I cut it. You can see it's kind of not really sitting flat yet. It probably won't ever. I don't know. It's all dirty from the kids, but
I sweep it out though, and you can wipe it up with.
I basically made a cardboard, you know, piece of it, and then I took it out and laid it on the diamond plate, and then just trimmed it with scissors because it actually has a lot of turns. It turns and does all these backle things and around.
I noticed. I saw the piece when you had it up on Toyota Motorhome Club page about. It was kind of a pretty complex design. And
I actually kind of did it like too snug, so when I tucked it in the corners, it started popping up a little. So I actually could peel it up and trim it a little more and make it a little bit more looser fit, and it might relax a little. But I mean, clearly this isn't like a showroom type of thing. I don't really care that much, you know. I just want it useful and practical, and you could spill anything and clean it up no problem. And like I said, it peels up if you have a major spill or something. So yeah, it's just a fun project.
Oh, it's been awesome. I appreciate you letting me see it and letting everyone else see it. I'm sure they've been waiting to kind of get a full tour of it. They watch you in bits and pieces. Building it. I mean, I know I have too, and I really enjoyed it.
Getting all these nicknames from it.
I know the legend.
And more people know me than I know them. You know, they're like, "Oh yeah, you're the guy. You're the guy." And I'm like, "Yeah."
All right, Josh. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Thanks.